I'm going to go ahead and welcome everyone to our Thursday's noon SRCR MLS marketing meeting for here Thursday, May 13th. As you can tell, I will be your host today. And what I'd like for everyone to kind of do, last week I was a little rough at it, but I've been practicing. So what I want to do, as soon as they get the flag up, I want to ask everyone to sort of stand where they are, put their hand over their heart, and along with me, allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, Mike.
Oh yeah, yeah. I get most improved, right?
It's awkward doing that by yourself and listening to your own self. So yeah, I like to.
That seems very familiar. But yeah, and they showed me that slide the other day, and I said, yes, that would be awesome. Anyway, yeah, that was great. Okay, quick housekeeping. I think most of us know the housekeeping rules. This will probably be less than an hour. If you have any questions, comments, please use the chat box. And if you're not talking, please be quiet. If you feel yourself you can't be quiet, mute yourself. And yeah, when it comes to listings, I don't think we have any listings at all this day. But I am anxious to hear our guest speaker today. He's from the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County. He's going to be giving us some sort of insight of what's happening in fair housing, because that is always a moving target. So what I'd like to do is give a very warm SRCAR welcome to our featured guest speaker, Guillermo Molina. So please put your hands together for him.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it.
That's my intro.
Well, before anything, I just want to say good afternoon to everyone. My name is Guillermo Molina. I'm a FIP coordinator for the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County. I'm a FIP coordinator, and I test for possible discrimination throughout the county of Riverside. And so during the pandemic times, we have received an influx of calls ranging from rental increase questions, evictions questions, rental assistance, and even discrimination. Sadly, today's times, it's very hard to even consider what type of situations landlords, management, and even tenants find themselves in. And so with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen so that we could see exactly what it is I'm talking about. And so with that, let me go ahead and start this off.
We see it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so again, from the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County, that's where I work. Just a quick overview of what types of services we provide. We provide comprehensive services which affirmatively address and promote fair housing, anti-discrimination rights, and further other housing opportunities for all persons without regard to race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, which means presence of children, disability, ancestry, marital status, age, source of income, sexual orientation, and other arbitrary factors. Now, arbitrary factors could be like if an individual that comes in that perhaps likes to wear baggy clothes, that has tattoos and so forth. Those are known as arbitrary factors. Just a quick overview, the types of services again, we deal with landlord and tenants, and not only with landlords, also managers that also are the ones in charge of the property. We do pre-post purchase counseling programs for first-time homebuyers. We do training and technical assistance. We conduct workshops, and we also provide such as this one where we educate and inform any organization that asks of that. Federal fair housing topics. Just really quick, just so you're well informed in regard to what types of, or rather, what are the federal protective classes. And I think this is very, very helpful, especially with the times that we see ourselves in regarding to the pandemic. A lot of people are staying home and they're noticing a lot, and they have questions regarding to what it is that they're going through. And so the federal protective classes, again, on the federal end, is race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, and disability. And there's also state protective classes. And these, again, it differs from the federal. It's completely different, but they're also protective in the state of California. Now, these are the ones that are currently in place. Now, I'm trying to get to the points where that really matter, which is after this slide. Now, the thing is that during the pandemic times, there's a lot of tenants, since they're staying at home in the rental units, some of them are realizing they're possibly being treated differently. And so again, with them staying at home, it gives them a lot of questions arise, and not only for them, also for managers as well, in regards to what type of if there is a claim for possible disputes, any type of disagreements, or even discrimination. It's good to know how can they resolve any issues that they have. Now, this is a part that's very important. Current COVID-19 issues. This is the one that we currently are experiencing in high volume calls. Now, during the COVID-19, as many of you are aware, there's a lot of questions in regarding to evictions, rental increases, the types of protections that tenants have, or what can managers, landlords do, and so forth. And so that's what I want to talk about today. The first one is Assembly Bill 1482. Now, in 2019, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 1482 to cap rent increases statewide. Now, this is only statewide for the next 10 years, effective on January 1, 2020, which was last year. The bill limits annual rent increases at 5%, plus any rise in the Consumer Price Index, which is CPI, which cannot exceed 10%. Now, here's the thing. However, AB 1482 does not apply to cities that are already regulated by their own local rent control ordinances. Now, these are some examples like Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco. The ones currently here for the county of Riverside will be Palm Springs. That's one example. So if there's an ordinance in play, AB 1482 cannot exceed it. So how it falls is ordinance first. If there's no ordinance for that city, AB 1482 comes into play. Now, there are some exceptions for AB 1482. Now, that is units that were constructed within the last 15 years. This applies on rolling basis. Unit constructed on January 1, 2006 is not covered as of January 1, 2020, but is covered on and after January 1, 2021. Units restricted by a deed, regulatory restrictions, other documents limiting affordability to lower or moderate income households. But the one I want you to focus on is this part. The family homes and condominiums are only exempt. These are the exemptions. The property is not owned by the following: a real estate trust, a corporation, or LLC with at least one corporate member. So that means if in a short sense, if the owner of the property is not any of these affiliated, then they don't have to abide to that AB 1482. And that's very important. That's the one that gets many individuals in regarding to this circumstance. If a homeowner is under a corporation for the many different properties that they have, then they have to abide to it. If it's just a single owner for that one particular property, then they don't have to abide to it. But that's only if, again, if it's only one owner. Now, in regarding to apartment complexes, that's a different story, since they have to abide to it. See here. Now, continuation for AB 1482. Within that actual bill as well, there's also a clause that talks about just cause evictions. Now, this is a part that gets many managers, landlords in trouble, because there's really, I mean, for the most part, not all of them do their due diligence in trying to figure out what type of information there is out there. And even though we're in a technological era, they still don't know how to look for this type of information. So understanding just cause evictions. I'm going to breeze through this really quickly, only because I have there's a lot to cover. But I always encourage every single person that I talk to give us a call. Give Fair Housing a call, the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County a call. It's always best for us to know what type of situations they find themselves in, because it's a case by case. But I'm only touching what it is, what it states on the law, and again, every case is different. So With that being said, understanding just cause evictions, it states under current law, landlords can terminate a tenancy for any reason or no reason at all. Now, the part that is interesting about this AB 1482 is that what's it called? But it says under the new law, under the new just cause law, landlords must list one of several reasons for why they want a tenant out. So they have to have a reason. They just cannot randomly try to evict a tenant because either they don't like him or so forth. They have to have a reason. This is where the just cause of eviction comes into play. You can also evict a tenant who does not follow the terms of the lease or engages in illegal activities while in the property. This is a part that is very important, especially if there's any discrepancies with a tenant. Tenants, unfortunately, nowadays there's a lot of misinformation regarding to tenants believing that they could stay in their rental unit as long as they want with no repercussions, and so they try to do things that would definitely affect the landlord or the manager, which is altering any type of new construction, maybe blacking out the windows and so forth, and they believe that they are able to do these things when the moratorium is in place, but in actuality they cannot. So let's move on. I want to talk about the old moratorium, which is AB 3088, and now there's a reason why I brought this up. AB 3088 was passed from September 1st to January 31st. This is the first time that this law was passed again in September 1st. This is where it talks about the tenant requirements regarding to how much are they able to pay. Now it states that the tenant pays at least 25%. And this was again from September 1st to January 31st, and it was superseded by SB 91. But the important takeaway about the AB 3088, is that 25%. The 25% that the tenant has to pay to the manager or landlord, and this is very important because what's it called? Not all tenants are able to pay that, but this is where the rental assistance come into play as well. In continuation with the AB 3088, there was also this is where the new eviction notice came into play. Rather than the 3-day, it became now a 15-day eviction notice. And this is very important because not many managers or even landlords are aware of that regarding to what is the proper days that they're supposed to give for an eviction notice. Even in today's time, there is a moratorium in play in regarding to the CDC halt of evictions. But even with the halt of evictions, landlords could still evict tenants. There's a misconception thinking that just because the CDC is in play, the tenants cannot be evicted. But unfortunately, they can be evicted. But there is a very specific. It has the circumstance in regarding to what the tenant and landlord are going through. The tenant has to do something that really creates either a dangerous atmosphere for the occupants or the neighboring community, or if the tenant does something that breaks the lease as well. Now with the SB 91, the SB 91 was passed as for in regards to the rental assistance, and the program itself is just to make sure that all of both the landlord and tenant are covered in regarding to any back rent that is owed, and this creates pretty much it helps both parties toward the end. I mean, the tenant doesn't have to feel pressured into paying the high cost that mounts over them, and then the landlords, they don't have to feel the pressure of covering all the costs or who's going to cover the costs and so forth. Moving forward, now this part here in regarding to SB 91, which exceeded AB 3088. So SB 91 came into play after AB 3088 ended, which was January 30th, and from there, this SB 91 ends on June 30th. Now, SB 91 again does not ban all evictions. Evictions still happen, and they have to fall into these categories that are currently in on screen in regards to if they're guilty before March 1st, 2020, if there's non-payment for rent, the tenant is at fault, the eviction is for no fault, and or the owner of the rental property is selling the property. But we always let the landlord manager know that they have to get legal counseling, because toward the end of the day, again, it's a case by case. Every situation that they find themselves in is different, and so especially with what's it called, tensions running high in regarding to the misplacement of the tenants and the pressuring costs for the landlords. You know, it's very important to get a legal advisor. That way the legal advisor could properly assess in regarding to that current case, and then they could give them the proper remedy. And it makes it, I mean, unfortunately, it would make it harder for the manager or landlord to remove, but it's the best method, because for the end of the day, again, it's a case by case, and it's hard to try to just put a one category and just you know, let that be as the main source of evictions and so forth. So again, it's a case by case. It's different for everybody, and typically when it turns into an eviction, we always refer them to a legal advisor here at Fair Housing, since no one at the Fair Housing Council is a practicing attorney or a legal advisor. We have to refer them to another organization that does that. But I just wanted to point out regarding to SB 91, it does state that the tenants are covered, but again, it does not ban all evictions. Evictions could still occur during the pandemic times. 24 CFR 100-120. The reason why I bring this up is because there's a lot of discrepancies in regarding to what can managers and landlords do if they choose not to help the tenant in getting rental assistance. Now, at 24 CFR 100-120 talks about discrimination in the making of loans and in the provisions of other financial assistance. This is a part that's very tricky, and it's very, very important to understand this one, because a lot of managers, a lot of landlords are getting in trouble for this. So I'm just going to read it out verbatim. It states, "It shall be unlawful for any person or entity whose business includes engaging in residential real estate related transactions to discriminate against any person in making available loans or other financial assistance for a dwelling, or which is or is to be secured by a dwelling, because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin. Practices prohibited under this section in connection with a residential real estate related transaction include, but are not limited to, failing or refusing to provide any person information regarding the availability of loans or other financial assistance, application requirements, procedures or standards for the review and approval of loans or financial assistance, or providing information which is inaccurate or different from that provided others because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin. Failing to provide or discouraging the receipt of loans or other financial assistance in a manner that discriminates in the denial rate or otherwise discriminates in their availability because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin. Conditioning availability of a loan or other financial assistance on a person's response to harassment because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin, and subjecting a person to harassment because of color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin that affects the availability of a loan or other financial assistance. Again, the discrepancy here in regarding to today's times is that a lot of managers, landlords are not, some of them, there are some that are not giving or are not helping tenants get the rental assistance. And they do that because they want to get rid of them. They want to remove them from that rental unit for whatever reason. And that could possibly turn into a discrimination. Again, it's a case by case. I'm not saying that every single person that does it is discriminatory. All I'm saying is if the tenant feels that the possibility as to the reason why they're being denied the rental assistance from the landlord, or rather helping them get that rental assistance, then they could definitely they have the right to file for a discriminatory complaint. And this is where we come into play in regarding to doing our part to investigate. But this is a very important right here, 24 CFR 100.120. This is a very important takeaway for today's for my part of the presentation. And this is the one that we're right now, as of today, for the pandemic times, this is the one that really is getting a lot of landlords, managers in trouble. And that concludes. Well, after that, the CDC holiday evictions. My apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself. The CDC holiday evictions. The CDC passed the holiday evictions on April 1st, and then ends on June 30th. And pretty much, again, it covers the tenant from being evicted. And so the part about the eviction on the wording is that it states that it halts evictions and removal of tenants. The definition of removal, it's very vague in regarding to what is that, well, how could that possibly, or what can that possibly fall into? And so we all, in this case, it's best to talk to a legal advisor to get a proper assessment in regarding to what's going, in regarding to the situation. But again, evictions are still occurring to this day, and vacancies as well. Not all tenants are protected under the CDC holiday evictions. And I will definitely advise, again, if anyone has any questions or concerns, feel free to give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to help out any landlords and managers. We're not one-sided, we keep everything neutral, and we just stick to the facts. We don't go, but we don't get led by emotions. We just do our part in helping every single person that wants to be informed or wants to be educated with whatever needs they want. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. A ton of information. And it's, my big takeaway and all that was, seek legal advice.
Yeah.
That and this is why property managers, get paid what they do. Now, before you leave, I know you're about ready to scoot out here. Could you put your phone number and contact information in the chat for us real quick? So I know we might have a couple of property managers, and I don't know if you have time for questions or even if we have any right now. But if you can put your information in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, not a problem. And what's it called? As a matter of fact, I would encourage anyone, again, if anyone who has any questions or any type of concerns or whatever the matter is, give us a call. Here at the Fair Housing Council, we have staff that know exactly what it is that's going on, and they'll be able to answer any questions or concerns that any manager or landlord may be confronted in. So, but I'll put my information on the chat right now, just so you're.
That would be awesome. Yes, and I appreciate. Yeah, I mean, a ton of information, because one of the things that you actually answered for me was the moratorium on evictions. You keep hearing that there's a hold on those, but that they're supposed to end here the end of June. But it's a lot more to it than just yes or no. Yeah.
Right. Yes, and again, even with that moratorium in place, evictions are still occurring to this day, and that's the shocking part that a lot of landlords and tenants it's hard to grasp. It's hard for them to grasp because they see that halt and they think that it's universal, but it's not.
Yeah, and also when it comes to just what do you call it, just cause evictions, you must have a reason, but also know there was like a list of suitable reasons. You can't just make up something. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of information to unpack, and I'm sorry if I just felt like I just threw you guys a huge ball of information.
No, that was awesome, but I also know we need to get going with the rest of our meeting too. And I know Ed's a patient man, but I also know I want to respect his time too. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Mike. I'm filling it out right now.
All right. Perfect. Cool. All right. Now, Wendy, can you back us up to our affiliate spotlight? We'll give Ed a chance to collect his thoughts. I know Ed and we go way back. I know he's actually moved our association a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And I know, like I alluded to earlier, He's a giver, and I also, I'm anxious to see what he has to say, because moving is that's also a hot topic right now, the do's and don'ts. But I also want to give him a big warm SRCR welcome. Thank you for my indulgence. So Ed, please help me out here and share what you know.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mike. Yes, you and I go back a long ways there, as long as I've been with the board on my 13th year now. So, and thanks for allowing me to be part of such a great association as the SRCAR. I've developed a lot of great relationships as well. But moving right along, my name's Ed, Ed Bato. I'm a corporate relocation specialist for Atlas Van Lines, who is Ace Atlas Van Lines. Atlas Van Lines is the second largest moving company in the United States. You probably know and have heard of us. We've got over 420 offices nationwide. And what does that really mean to you, having over 5,000 tractor trailers moving around the US? It doesn't mean anything unless we can really put the pedal to the metal, so to speak. But the bottom line is we can move your clients anywhere across the street or across the country. And we're a professional moving company that's got pretty much all of our offices and our storage facilities. And we help protect your precious belongings during chaotic times. And yes, we are in chaotic times, as Mike was saying. Homes are selling like hotcake, but there are hordes of people leaving California. But in light of what I just mentioned about having, what sets us apart from all the others is the fact that, for example, I'm working with 3 realtor referrals on their clients moving in, one from Texas, interesting enough, one from Virginia, and the other one from Florida. While it's true that there's hordes of people leaving California, there are people moving into our communities. We have such a desirable area that we've attracted these people and the right people to reside in our communities here. Now, by the same token, I was going to mention that, so know that we can move your clients inbound into California, or if they have to move from Washington State to Texas, we can also do that for them. That is the bandwidth and infrastructure that we have. People have been asking me, what are the top states that people are moving to? Well, in this order, you have Texas, Arizona, Florida, then it's a close battle between Idaho, Tennessee, and Nevada. And right behind it, you've got Oregon and Washington State, and of course, North Carolina. And then you have Colorado and parts of Utah. So that's sort of the pecking order for the people that were moving out of California. And yes, we are in the peak move season. And what does that mean? My suggestion to the realtors and their clients is once the home goes into escrow, request your clients or suggest to your clients to start getting quotes and start to book early. I found out through the years the reason why a lot of people are not booking early, and this has something to do with tips on how to avoid moving scams. First of all, professional moving companies do not accept down payments or deposits, especially on interstate moves. This may be a telltale sign of a moving scam. So what happens here is, for example, we can't accept down payments or deposits, but people don't know that, and they say, I don't want to book early. I want to wait till my home escrows, and now it's too late because they're afraid that they're going to lose their deposit. And by the way, with a lot of the brokers and a lot of the mom and pops and the very small independent companies, they ask you for a down payment and they will hit you up with a $450 cancellation fee. That is why people have this mindset of not booking early. On the contrary, you can book early, or you should book early with a professional moving company. And then if there is something wrong with your escrow or something goes awry, whatever, you can adjust schedules accordingly, provided there's openings. And typically there will be, depending on the season, educate your clients that they should start booking as early as they can, especially now between May the 15th all the way to the end of pretty much the end of September. It's been a crazy year. I am averaging right now between 4 and 5 FaceTimes a day and Zooms, because I'm doing more efficient stuff and having more surveys on FaceTime in order to accommodate these clients that don't have time to see me, or they're too far away and it's going to take up a lot of my my drive time. So again, no deposits, and all estimates have got to be in writing, followed by either a virtual survey or a visual survey. Like I said, FaceTime is considered virtual. The other thing that people are saying, and I think I've been saying this for the last couple of years or so, the homes are selling like hotcake. The challenge that your sellers have is A, they haven't found the home, B, the house is being built, or C, the house is under renovation or it's going through renovation. Behold, there's a relief. There are storage options, and there are what you call self-storage, or what we call storage in transit. For example, I have an 80,000 square foot facility in Anaheim, and each of the 420 offices have large warehouse spaces to accommodate this type of storage. And again, the other thing I was going to mention here, the last couple of things is, again, our crews are bonded and insured, and they're all background checked, they're all drug tested, and a lot of them have been with us for so many years, and so know that they are going to provide a seamless move experience for you. And also, just a couple of last things here. Again, one example that I clearly wanted to share with you. About 4 weeks ago, I got a phone call from one of the realtors saying, "Hey, Ed, can you help my client in Menifee? What happened?" Well, I'll let them explain that to you. Anyway, so I called them up. They said that they didn't find they couldn't find my business card. They were recommended one company in LA, which is a broker. They loaded their belongings. They gave them $6,000 going into Edmonds, Oklahoma. And when they loaded them, they started asking for more money. And they said, "We're not going to pay you a single dime." Guess what they did? They left. The good news is they did not hostage their belongings. But the not so good news is, A, they didn't get their deposit back. And also, they literally dropped off their belongings on the street in that nice plus 55 independent living community on Murrieta Road, somewhere in Menifee. So it was headed for Edmonds, Oklahoma. So things like those, what sets you apart from all the other realtors is the ability to have resources. I want to be a part of those. And as I've always told you before, if I'm there when you don't need me, I'll always be there when you need me. So I'd like to answer a couple of questions, if there are any.
Yeah. Does anyone have a question for Ed? I mean, I like your 3 takeaways. Yeah, Denise. What do
I
you
have
got?
a question. First of all, Ed, I just wanted to say thank you so much for my gift. And I referred Ed, and also I have another client to refer to you that are moving to Vegas again. But Ed is always so detailed and so thorough, and he takes very, very good care of your customers. And my customers are singing his praises, the one that he moved to Vegas. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And the other thing I was going to mention, we're not always going to be a good fit for certain clients. For example, we've got here that they were adamant that they wanted pods. The good news is I also sold pods for over 8 years. If it's a small move and they're purging, by all means, I'll give them some tips on how to negotiate with pods. And in fact, I'll also tell them, go get a quote from Pack Rats, because that's their biggest competitor. But know that I will treat your clients like gold. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that they are taken care of one way or the other. So thank you for that, Denise. And any other quick questions?
I think Kirk has one. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
well, we're being told that we should only do business or recommend people use movers who are licensed. I was unaware that there was a licensing component to moving companies.
Kirk, it's more like bonded and insured. I mean, licensed, yes, because they need to be credentialed. If they're a local moving company, it's the state of California PUC. If it's for interstate moves, it's going to be the Department of Transportation. Yes, we need to be all credentialed, again, bonded and insured, and again, licensed to operate in any of the states. So that's probably what is meant by being licensed. Some people, you've got the again, you've got the typical local moving companies that want to do interstate moves with the hope that they don't get caught during interstate lines, because let's say they can cover Arizona or Nevada. They're under the radar. People move to Nevada. People, drive throughout Arizona and Nevada, and why not? We can get revenue out of it. If they do get caught, it's a lot of fines, but that's what licensing is all about, Kirk, because you want to make sure it's called core competency. You have local moving companies that we compete with. They've got a great service, or at least a good service on the local end. They can move you from Temecula to San Diego or vice versa. But when it comes to the interstate, these types, it's a lot more complex, a lot more logistics involved, a lot more moving parts. I say stay with the big boys, because again, the worst thing you want to do is move to Tennessee. You just sold your home. You're going to start a new saga in your life in Nashville, Tennessee, and all of a sudden it takes months to get your belongings, or for that matter, all of a sudden it doesn't get there.
Well, I think it doesn't get there, or it gets there and it's damaged. That's another whole issue. Yeah.
Exactly. And people ask me, hey, Ed, how much does it cost to move? I just turn back and I just say, how much will it cost you if there were any damages, or how much is your time worth when your belongings are held hostage? So again, it's not a scare tactic. It's what's happening out there, unfortunately, especially with the plus 55. So do take care of your clients, because they are so vulnerable with a lot of the moving scams out there, especially when the house is listed. These companies get they get these listings from wherever, they pay for it, and they start harassing the clients there. So if there's anything I can do, let me know. Again, Ed Bato, Atlas Van Lines, we're movers, not shakers.
Yes, you've had that tagline since day one, and it
Yep.
works. Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Mike.
You won't shake it. But yeah, the quick takeaway, yeah, I mean, book early. It sounds like the more planning you do, the better off things will be. And one thing I did learn, that no deposits are really needed. So if someone's asking for a deposit, that's a red flag right there. And in estimates, don't go by verbal. It's like anything else. Yeah, it's not really meaning anything until it's written down. So all estimates should be in writing. But before I move on, I do have one quick question. When it comes to your storage options, do you see that that trend? What's the word I want? Happening more? Do you see people spending more time in storage?
Interesting that you say that, Mike. I've had 2 FaceTimes this morning. Both need some sort of storage. One is going to Pahrump, Nevada. The other one's going to Meridian, Idaho. And again, it's the sign of the times. Realtors have been very aggressive selling their homes, and they either haven't found the home, the house is being built, or the house is under renovation. So yeah, I would say at least conservatively, at least 50%. So 5 of every 10 clients minimum are looking for self-storage or a form of storage.
I would think, yeah, because sellers are getting, awesome prices in very short amount of time, but they may not have a place to go. But I'm thinking if they could park their stuff for a month or two someplace, and stay with relatives, that's a valuable option. I can see weaving that into my conversations when it comes to listing appointments. Yeah,
exactly. And again, each situation is different. Use me as a resource, bounce around ideas. And somehow we'll find a solution, whether it's us or maybe something else. But there is a solution for every situation right here, right now.
I also know in the interest of time, I see we're already 1:45, and I want to wrap this up by 1 o'clock. So we still have our wants, needs, and price changes. I see you, David. If you could put it in the chat, that would be awesome. But I also want to get a quick committees report when it comes to, and I also want to share with you our did you know? Now, this past week, as it shows, we had 260 closed transactions. But I want to know, anyone out there, we always do this compared to what it was a year ago. And to date, we've always ended up selling more despite our lack of inventory. We've always been able to sell more than the previous year's week, because basically, last year at this time, or last year in April and May, we were pretty much in a shutdown. But now, remember last year in May, we were starting to open things up. So actually, last year at this time, we actually sold more than 260. We sold a total of 271 closed transactions for this same period last year. So we're starting to see the effects of our lack of inventory. But I thought that was some interesting facts. That's the first time this has actually kind of pivoted, gone the other day, or gone the other way. But now I want to go ahead and now, do we want to do some committee reports? I don't know if you want me to name out each person, but we got a small enough group here. If you're here, you have something to say, and you're chair of a committee, this is your moment. Tracy, Barbara?
I'll say something. Barbara Rand here. Hey, so on the 18th, which is next Tuesday, from 1 to 4, SIG is offering an RPA class. That's not the new RPA, that's the current RPA. So if you're in SIG or not in SIG, but you want to take it and really understand the contract, this is your time to do that. Now, we all know that we're having the new SIG class coming out in December. Not class, the actual form is effective in December of this year. Classes start as early as August, and you are encouraged to take the classes from wherever you can, from SRCAR, from CAR, from wherever you can get them. You're going to need 1 or 3 classes to really understand this 16-pager. Okay, it's not like you wait till December and then all of a sudden you got this new form that's 16 pages. You didn't know the contract before, and now you really don't know it. So I'm trying to frighten you a little bit. I need you to really pay attention. This is serious. If you're a broker or manager, take this back to your office and teach it, or point your people to the classes that they can take, because it's completely different than what we're used to. Some think that it's better. And whatever, but the point is we have to stay on top of these things. So John Giardinelli and I are going to be teaching this class a few times for SRCAR, and we'll let you know when that is. I think we start in August, but we'll let you know. But again, you don't have to take it from us. You could take it from anyone that's certified to teach this class. I recommend that you just keep paying attention to your emails from CAR and NAR, and just, look into it. Okay, so that's it. I encourage you to take the RPA class that Cynthia Nordskog is teaching on Tuesday from 1 to 4 through SIG. Whether you're a SIG graduate or wannabe or not, it's a great 3 hours of your time. And I think that is it for me.
I think Cynthia is going to be focusing in on our existing RPA, but she also alluded last week that she will be highlighting or giving some info about the upcoming one that's going to be released that you were talking about. So that will be informative.
Even if you pay the $30 and you stay for the first hour where she talks about the first 3 pages of the new contract, it's worth it no matter what. It's worth it on its own.
I agree.
Yeah, so I'm going to take it too, just to see what she's talking about. And we all have our own ways of teaching, and I think it's so important to stay on top of things. And there's so many agents out there who don't even know the current contract, as you know. And so we want to make sure that they know the current contract, which we have coming up on Tuesday of next week. And then we have a tickle of what's happening with the new contract at 16 pages coming out in December. And there, like I said, there's plenty of opportunities for you to sign up and take these courses and everything else just to educate yourself. Don't rely on your broker, although your broker is a great resource, but you also, have a responsibility to understand the contracts.
Yes, I agree. And also, in the interest of time, I want to move on to our next committee. I see Tracy has unmuted herself. So please, you have the floor.
Quick update, our next scholarship fundraiser is the golf tournament. But if you haven't signed up, it's too late. It's sold out, and now we have a waiting list. So we're super excited. It's next Friday at the Rancho California Golf Course. And if you missed out for this one, we're going to have another one in November. So November 5th. So we're pretty excited about this. And we already have some money in the coffers for some scholarships. And after next Friday, who knows?
Well, yes, speaking of scholarships, I think the deadline for applications is approaching.
It's May 20th. May 20th.
May 20th. And how many students do you know have actually applied? Or do you?
I am not privy to that information.
Get some insight there, yeah, because the more the merrier is the way I look at it. So
It's
yeah,
Diane knows what's going on.
There's a nice visual of it. I just got the email blast about that this morning. Okay, is there any other committee chairman or chairpersons I should state? You want to go ahead and share when it comes to property management or YPN?
I can go for YPN. So we had our meeting last Monday, and we are going to be putting together kind of a casual happy hour mixer at Shamrocks. And I can't remember what date it is, so because we're working on the flyer right now, but it's going to be, I think, mid.
Next month?
No, I think it's going to be the end of this month. So that way we're not messing with kids' graduations and stuff. So I feel like it's the 26th. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look through our text messages, but there's a lot that goes back and forth between everybody in our group. So just keep an eye out for it. So Shamrocks, just a happy hour, just to see each other. Very informal, just show up and pay for yourself type of thing. So we'll get the flyer out to you guys here soon. And what did you say?
I might just start swinging by daily and see if I can,
There you go. And then, just to let you know, we are going to do our reverse raffle this year for our charity of the year. So we will be starting to bug you guys in a couple months because our reverse raffle pool is at the end of August. So, and it's 100 tickets. So only. Thank you.
Cool. We're starting to see more of these live events. And
I know. It's nice.
Everyone's going to scrambling. Yeah.
Exactly.
Quickly. Okay. So I want to go ahead and wrap up our committee updates. So with that, I think we've wrapped that up. Now, a little educational events, which I know Barbara kind of alluded to some of those already. I also know tomorrow, May 14th, is SRCAR's Leadership Academy. Alicia is going to be doing her session number 5 on reflections. I don't know if you saw her post, I think yesterday. I think there'll still be some openings. I mean, it is, if you want someone to help you when it comes a little more accountability or motivate you, I'd highly recommend. I know each one of these sessions stand independently, though this is session number 5. I know if you step into it right now, you'd still get some great info. But look at that, look at this slide we see here for more information. And, I think she will accept you if you get in there by tomorrow. Now, also, before I actually go to Town Crier, which I don't know if we don't have anything, but I know sort of the recap last week, what Otto was telling us when it comes to the PED forms may be maybe coming to an end or sunsetting. But also want to do a quick little shout out. This morning I got a little President's Monthly message, and what I asked them, and also Pauline was asking about, is the current guidance on open houses. And from what I can read from this, a quick update, effective immediately as of yesterday, open houses will be able to allow in-person showings. So I'll basically take a look at that, look at your email that you got this morning from our current president from CAR and verify that. But sounds like open houses are back, which I think is going to be exciting. And I think we're going to see a lot more postings of those here in the coming weekends. But I just wanted to share that to everyone who's here today.
Did that come from CAR? Because I don't think CAR has actually announced it quite yet.
That's, it's a president's message. Actually, I got it at 9 o'clock this morning.
I got one yesterday as well.
But that's
this morning, and it's very
yeah.
clear in the
But I think CAR hasn't officially said what they're yet.
It says in the letter that open houses are okay, like Mike said. So my important question on that is, has anybody told CRMLS we need to open up that open house field? So can somebody do that?
Yeah, for sure. We have Johnny G's emailed us, and he told us this morning that Sierra hasn't officially announced yet, but obviously it's a done deal.
You know what?
Like we can do it.
So we got several directors on this session.
We asked John. Yes, we asked John to tell CRMLS to open up the field.
Who cares what John says? If CAR sends us all an email, no, I'm serious. If CAR sends us all an email, every realtor in the state gets an email that says open houses are okay. I'm asking our board of directors, those that are present, to get in touch with CRMLS and make sure they're in sync with that.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely
all.
have.
Thank you.
We've been communicating that for sure. So we're on top of it for you, David. Definitely want that.
Oh, yeah. And the key is this is from the president, not directly from CAR. But it's to me, I wanted to share it because it sounds encouraging.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. We need to get back to business.
Hey, now, do I have any town choirs? Wendy, are you going to pop something up for me? No town choirs and no properties to review. So I guess with that, I can go ahead and wrap this up. We do have a couple of minutes here. I can open it up if anyone has something they want to share or something they have encouraging to leave us with. I see some wonderful faces and some, in ideal names. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and wrap this up, bring this to closure, bring the gavel down, and ask you all to go seize the day. And see you guys next week.
Mahalo, guys. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Have a great weekend, folks.